There was so much invoked yesterday that wove together in a lovely way. And reflecting on it last night, I was thinking about the answer to the question, is there one Buddha or many? And I'm sure many of you know the answer is yes. You know, at the truth body level, it's all one. You know, at the subtle body level, there's more variety. And at the manifest level, where we have hands that can reach out and touch others from our heart, infinite variety. Original medicine, strange and magnificent and so necessary. And then I thought, it's sort of like the bodies that Angelus invoked, you know, the body of self and the relational body we create with others and the body of the collective. And it shows up in a lecture I like to give sensitive executives about being a big wheel. You know, if you want to be a big wheel, so I go to science, I say, let's just talk about how you affect reality. You know, what is this material world made of? And I say, you know, if you blow up an atom until you can see electrons the size of a speck of dust with your naked eye, what would you be looking at? How would reality look at that level? You'd see a speck of dust here, and football fields away, another speck of dust. The real world. So I asked them, well, what do you think is in between the particles? And, you know, who knows? Sometimes I offer the idea that it's love that holds it together. So I tell them, well, you know, then if you really want to address the absolute majority of nature, work with the space between the particles. That's where the heavy lifting is. I said, and then you can move like a big wheel from the largesse of your being, you know, and get there faster, moving slowly like this, instead of like a little wheel. Work with the space between the particles where the heavy lifting is. So when we work with the body of self and the body of relationship and the body of the collective, we're still addressing what's in between the particles and how courageous we can be and expansive in allowing that bigger part to direct what happens. Yesterday there were some powerful invocations. You know, many were touched by the black hat of Zapata. And I was wondering, in those levels of relationship, can we show up with the wildflower showing between our bullets? With a gaze that refuses to be ignored? You know, do we know when we're met by another, the silver-haired woman across the room, who returns our gaze, who holds it and calls from us the swaha, the surrender and offering of our greatness, and say yes. And the hag, Dane Ragwell. I thought about something Peter brought up at a previous Chautauqua about fallibility. I can't possibly language it in his beautiful way, but I think one of the important things, especially when we come and we get these seeds of inspiration, is to be prepared to be disappointed. You know, I love his idea that, you know, I am not a development project. People have tried and failed. This is it. You know, so in that, can I kiss the hag in myself? You know, because she's coming along. You know, she's a pretty good friend and a source of great poetry. You know, can I kiss the hag in myself? Can I kiss that hag in the other when I see their warts and I know that there's a Buddha inside? You know, we've all got Buddhas on board. Buddha on board. That would be a... And, you know, and can we accept the hag quality even of our great beauty, which shows up, our expression of divinity, in such weird and wild ways? I've said recently, teasing Rumi, I'm a kazoo that the Christ's breath blows through. But yesterday I had a different riff on that. We were talking about, I was talking about my sort of ferocious experience of the divine and how it shaped me, and I thought, well, you know, we're all the body of Christ, you could say, all those parts, those different expressions. I thought, maybe I'm the asshole. But it's an important part. So this is causing more new material beyond being the kazoo. And I thought about the dilemma of living into that wildness of who I am, and, you know, can that be of service to community? Can that wild voice really serve? And one of Angela's great teachings came to me about the 3 big lies. She says there are 3 big lies that we tell ourselves. One is the lie that I'm not enough, I'm not sufficient. You know, my warts, my wearing of bullets, I'm not sufficient. And the other big lie is, you're not sufficient to meet my needs. You're not sufficient. That's another huge lie. And the last one is, the universe is not sufficient to meet my needs. In my own experience, it's wonderful to find that it doesn't take perfection to produce a miracle. In fact, once when I was very depressed about a leader I was working for and trying to support in a wonderful Peter Block-inspired socio-technical redesign of a laser jet factory, I was complaining about this leader always falling off the horse and not keeping the vision. And he said, there's nothing worse than a perfect leader. I said, what do you mean? He said, there's nothing to contribute. There's no room. So I just have you consider that, you know, that when you see insufficiency on those levels, it's a form, as Sarojini would say, of invitation. And that's magical, you know, because together we are enough. And I think that's the wisdom of the body of the collective. And part of restoring, you know, the restoration of a view that designs the architecture of how we hold ourselves in reality in a way that allows our aliveness and humanity to be full, you know, and allows for the mischief of our warts and hair and ugliness to be a resource, you know, allows us to show respect. As Angelus likes to say, it comes from respectare, like spectacles, to look again. You know, and perhaps that's part of the magic, is that curiosity, the word so many of you brought into this Chautauqua, the curiosity to look anew, to look again, you know, respect for myself, including the Zapata, courage and boldness and presence, and the hag who says, kiss me. And that curiosity can restore. It invites so many possibilities we would never have imagined. I think there was an invocation of bravery in all of those offerings yesterday, and impeccability to move toward that aliveness in a more radical way. You know, will I bet my life on it? And how can it show up in design of a restoration, designing the space and the schools and the classrooms and the relationships and even the dreams we hold, to open up more of that and not to be concerned about doing it perfectly. You know, the hag can be a resource. So today I thought it would be nice for us to have some conversations that let us try on making a stake, you know, that gift of leadership, which is to take a stand and to be seen for what you stand for. You know, try it out. So this morning we're going to have an invitation for some conversation about where am I in that commitment to aliveness on the self and relational level and the community level. You know, what would be my edge of taking a stand like that? So that's all that I have to say. And Peter, I would love for you to add to that with some reflections you've got.